Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today we have passage 2 from test 2. So it will be about bringing extinct species back to life, about endangered animals and the endangered species. So we will start with keywords in questions. So here you may use any letter more than once. A reference to how further disappearance of multiple species could be avoided. Explanation of a way of reproducing an extinct animal using DNA of only that species. Reference to a habitat which has suffered following the extinction of a species. Mention of the exact point which a particular species became extinct, about the exact point, exact location, exact place, name of this place, and here summary, no more than 2 words. Professor George Church and his team are trying to identify the. So here's a start with Professor George Church, and here we have a list of people, of scientists: Ben, Michael, and Beth. You may use any letter more than once. So the passenger pigeon was a legendary species flying in vast numbers across North America. Pigeon, many millions within a single flock. Their migration was once one of nature's great spectacles. Sadly, the passenger pigeon's existence came to an end September when the last living specimen died at zoo. Genetist Ben is lead researcher on an ambitious project which now aims to bring the bird back to life through a process known as de-extinction. So here we have exact location, North America, at which a particular species became extinct. So 17 will be A. And here the basic premise involves using premise means experiment, involves using cloning technology to turn the DNA of extinct animals into a fertilized embryo which is carried by the nearest relative still in existence, in this case the abundant Indian pigeon, before being born as a living, breathing animal. Passenger pigeons are one of the pioneering species in this field, but they are far from the only ones on which this cutting-edge technology is being tried. So Ben, reintroducing to its original habitat could improve the health of a particular. No, it's important to concentrate on the causes of animals extinction. No, a species brought back from extinction could have an important beneficial impact on the vegetation of its habitat. No, and Ben. beneficial on the vegetation. Our current efforts in preserving are insufficient. Cloning Ben Novak. The basic cloning technology. So we will start in Australia. The Thylacine, more commonly known as Tasmanian tiger, is another extinct creature which genetic scientists are striving to bring back to life. There is no carnivore now in Tasmania. Carnivore means eat species which eat meat, and it contradicts herbivores, and herbivores eat herbs and plants. Tasmania that fills the niche which once occupied. Michael, he points out is critically important in IELTS academic reading. In the decades since went extinct, there has been a spread in dangerously debilitating facial tumor syndrome, which threatens the existence of the Tasmanian devils. Would have prevented this spread because they would have killed significant numbers of Tasmanian devils. If that contagious cancer had popped up previously, it would have burned out in whatever region started. The return of this species to Tasmania could help to ensure that devils are never again subjected to risks of this kind. So, explanation of a way of reproducing using DNA of only that species. So 15, sorry about that, known as the extinction to turn into discarded in the nearest relative still in existence. So here's the process of DNA of this species. So 15 will be A also. Paragraph A. And so here Michael, to its original have could improve the health of a particular species living there. So this will be Michael B. Because he talked about Tasmanian and this species subjects risk of this kind. This kind means contagious cancer. If extinct species can be brought back to life, can humanity begin to correct the damage it has caused to the natural world over the past few millennia? The idea of de-extinction is that we can reverse this process, bringing species that no longer exist back to life. Death. So de-extinction is that we can reverse this process, bringing species no longer exist. I don't think that we can do this. There's no way to bring back something that is 100% identical to a species that went extinct a long time ago. A more practical approach for long extinct is to take the DNA of existing species as a template ready for insertion to create something new, hybrid, but which looks. We talk about pets. Our current efforts are insufficient. A species brought back could have improved the vegetation. It's important to concentrate on the causes. Current efforts at preserving biodiversity are insufficient. So I don't think that we can do this. So it's about inability. Our current efforts. I will write this C. Beth. This complicated process and the questionable outcome begs the question, what is the actual point of this technology? The goal has always been replacing extinct species with a suitable replacement. Novak. The extinct species with a suitable replacement. When it comes to breeding, band-tailed pigeons scatter and make maybe one or two nests. Whereas passenger pigeons were very social in 1 hectare. Since the disappearance of this key species, ecosystem in the eastern suffered the lack of disturbance caused by thousands of pigeons breaking trees and branches. So trees and branches is a metaphorical meaning of vegetation. Where is the vegetation? Habitat to a habitat. No, about vegetation. About Novak. Yes, vegetation. A species brought back could have an important beneficial impact. So this will be 25 will be E. So we still have to concentrate on the causes. Means had been minimal need for regrowth. This has left forests stagnant, therefore unwelcoming plants. According to Nova, with the added nesting habits, re-establish that forest disturbance, thereby creating a habitat necessary. Another popular candidate is woolly mammoth. Another species, George Church. Here is the start of the summary question. A habitat which has suffered following the extinction of a species. So here, left forests stagnant, unwelcoming to plants and animals, regenerate after a disturbance. So here vegetation, here a habitat suffered following the extinction of this species of pigeons. So this will be D. disappearance could be avoided. So George and sorry about that. George and his team are trying to identify the what which enabled the mammoth to live in the tundra. To identify, George Professor has been focusing on cold resistance, the main way in which the extinct woolly mammoth and its nearest living relative, the Asian elephant, differ by pinpointing. So many of us will write cold resistance because he focusing on, but however, when we continue the text, the context by pinpointing. So pinpointing means identify the. So the answer will be genetic traits made it possible to survive. So we will enable the mammoth to live. So enabled mammoth to live means survive. But here cold resistant don't have any here any meaning for the same. So the answer will be genetic traits. Genetic traits. So the findings could help preserve. According to Church, introducing Asian elephants to the tundra would involve certain physical adaptations to minimize what? Elephant. Asian elephant expanding to huge ecosystem, adaptation, smaller ears, thick hair, and extra insulating fat, all for reducing heat loss. So for minimize means reducing heat loss. To survive in the tundra, the species would need to have mammoth-like features of thick hair and of a reduced size and more So he said to survive the range adaptation, reduced smaller ears. So reduced here the answers don't come in order, but yes, they are in the same paragraph. Smaller ears. So smaller ears means ears of reduced size. And more and more hair. He said hair, and more thick hair and extra insulating fat. Extra means more, so the answer will be insulating fat, because he said that we need two words, so we can actually take the adjective and the noun. Repopulating the tundra with mouse origin elephants hybrids would also have impact on the environment, could help to reduce temperatures and decrease large could be useful factor in reducing carbon emissions. So carbon emissions. So the last paragraph, while the prospect of bringing back to life might capture imaginations, far easier to try to save an existing species which is merely threatened with extinction. Many of the technologies that people have in mind when they think about extinction can be used as a form of genetic rescue. Shapiro, she prefers to focus the debate on how this emerging technology could be used to fully understand why various species went extinct in the first place. So, Shapiro, so we still have this to contemplate causes of extinction. So this will be C, and how further disappearance could be avoided. I think it will be here. Therefore, use genetic modification, prevent mass extinction. I would also say there is an incredible moral hazard not to do. She continued, we know that what we are doing today is not enough, and we have to be willing to take some calculated and measured risks. Not enough. Yes, it's our current efforts are insufficient, and we still have this question: how further of multiple species could be avoided? Could be avoided, of course, to save an existing which is merely threatened. Try to save, and extinction could be used fully to fully understand genetic modification, prevent mass extinction. So to prevent mass extinction. So this will be paragraph number F.